So, right here, characteristics of this graph. This is really just factored form here, right? We factored a trinomial. Maddie, put your head up, please. I want you to stay with me. The x-intercepts out of here are going to be the p and q. So I would just pull these numbers out of here, and I would know where the parabola hits the x-axis. The axis of symmetry, see, here's a picture. The axis of symmetry is always halfway between those 2 points. Wherever the graph hits the x-axis, the axis of symmetry is halfway. So we can just take the average of them. We can add p and q and divide it by 2 if we have to find the axis of symmetry. It's halfway between. Okay? I know we got a formula yesterday, which we can always use. But if we have the two x-intercepts, we can also just realize that the axis of symmetry is halfway between them. Okay? The parabola opens up, you know this already. If a is greater than 0, it opens up. If a is less than 0, it opens down. So those are the characteristics that you're going to be working with here today. Knowing that these are the x-intercepts, the axis of symmetry is halfway between them, and you know that stuff already. Okay, so let's practice this a little bit. Graph the quadratic equation in intercept form. This is in intercept form already, isn't it? Yesterday, you were kind of graphing it when it was in standard form. So the first thing you do, I'm a step follower. I can't help it, I am. Identify and plot the x-intercepts. Well, when you get this, you set each of the factors equal to 0. And solve for x. So what is one of my x-intercepts? Yeah. And what's my other x-intercept? 3. Okay. So I'm going to write p and q up here, and I want you just to notice something. We found out that one of the x-intercepts is -1, which is just the opposite of that, isn't it? And the other one is +3, which is the opposite of that. So you could just think that in your head. Now plot those 2 points. Okay? X is -1 and x is 3 on the x-axis.
Crazy weather we're having.
Focus.
It's actually crazy today.
Find and draw the axis of symmetry. Okay. This is a P and this is a Q. It's my two x-intercepts, P and Q. All I got to do is plug it into here to get the axis of symmetry. You might not even have to, because you know that it's what? Halfway between these two, right? But let's just do the math because we're in math class.
True.
Okay, this would be 2, yeah, and that would be 1. So the axis of symmetry would be x equals 1, which is exactly halfway between these 2 points. So you just kind of draw your line. Yes?
Are you going to have to do the math part in order to figure it out?
You're going to have to what?
Show all your work and figure it out?
No. Nah, but on the test or the quiz I might ask you to show me something, just so I know you're not looking at your neighbor. Whatever, okay? Find and plot the vertex. You did this yesterday. What's the x-coordinate of the vertex? 1. You know that the x-coordinate of the vertex is 1. How do you get the other one? You plug it in. Wherever x is, you're going to put 1. Y equals -1 plus 1 times 1 minus 3. Y equals -2 times -2. So the y coordinate is +4. I'm going to plug that into my vertex ordered pair here, which is 4. Now, if you do this and it doesn't end up on your axis of symmetry, you made a mistake, right? All right. Over 1, up 4, there's my vertex. Which way does my parabola open? It opens down because of the negative. So now you can just sketch it.
Wait, why did we put the negative in front?
Because it's part of the equation.
Crazy one.
Okay? All right. So that's that one.
Why one? Oh, wait a minute.
Doable? Okay, let's do the other side. We're going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Only one more.
This is totally.
Easy enough. Shh. Graph the equation in intercept form. Wait a minute. Is this factored already? No. We got to put it in factored form.
Divided by 2.
Graph the quadratic equation in intercept form. It's not factored yet, so we need to factor this. To get it into intercept form, we need to factor. We can do that. Rewrite the equation in the intercept form, factor it. So, here's my equation. What can I factor out of each term?
2.
A 2. So I'm going to divide a 2 out. And I get this. When I divide out a 2, I get that. Oh, but wait a minute. It still doesn't look like this, does it?
Nope.
Because I can take this further. 1 is a perfect square. Remember this, y equals 2. I can split this up. X and x. What's the square root of 1? 1 and 1. And since there's no middle term, what do I put in there? Plus and minus. Okay, so you have to factor it first so it gets into that form. And then you identify and plot the x-intercepts. Okay, so I take these and I set one equal to 0. You may not have to do this. You may see it already. Set each one equal to 0. One of the x-intercepts would be -1, and the other one would be what? Yeah. So now we can plot those on the x-axis. There's my x-intercepts. Is it easy to see where the axis of symmetry is? Yeah, it's just halfway in between there. So you can use the equation, or you just know that it's halfway in between. Sometimes you have to use the equation because it's not so easy to figure it out. It might be a fraction or something. But I'm just going to write it in here just because. That equals 0. Yeah, so this is the x-coordinate of my vertex. Then I plug it. Yeah, I plug it in, and I can just use the original equation. I could do that. 2 times 0 squared minus 2. What does it equal? Yeah, this is 0. This whole term is 0. So I'm left with -2, so that goes in there.
I just drew the perfect circle 0 ever. Sorry, I just had to.
Okay, that's my vertex. So over 0, down 2. Will it open up or down? Yeah, it looks like it's going to open up. I just always verify because it's positive. This is positive, right? So it will open up, so I can sketch it now. I tried not to. I almost did. Almost. Okay. So, draw the parabola through the vertex and where the x-intercepts occur. Check that it opens in the right direction. We did all that. So, what you doing here? Make sure it's in factored form, right? Hey, let me summarize and then I'm going to let you go. Make sure it's in factored form. Then you can identify the x-intercepts. Then you find the axis of symmetry. Then you find the vertex and you draw it. Cool? You got a worksheet.